Welcome to the first class. What is permaculture? So permaculture wasn't invented, it was discovered. So Bill Mollison was an ecologist from Australia who in his early days intensely studying all forms of life on the planet, looking at how life everywhere just created the conditions for more life to occur. And why was it that we were incapable of doing that? Why was it that when we went to places, we seemed to just destroy them? It was quite intent, I think, on the idea that humans on their own couldn't be inherently good or bad, that was a misconception, and that instead there must be something else going on. And what he essentially realized was that yes, in fact there was, and people who had a certain understanding of some basic principles tended to be able to live in good relationship to land, and that meant certain things, and certain cultures emerged from that, whereas other cultures either forgot those principles or failed to understand them in the first place, and those ones tended to act in a destructive way. And so he started to very intensely look at the cultures, the organizations, the individuals that appeared to actually be in right relationship with nature, and he extracted out a set of principles, a really, really valuable set of principles. The name permaculture, it's a play on words, really. It comes from the idea that if we could manage land in a sustainable way that would allow the land to endure, so using permanent plants, permanent systems, trees and forestry, if we could mainly feed ourselves that way, that from that a more healthy culture that could endure permanently could emerge. That's something like the working thesis. Very much contained in it is the idea that culture and agriculture go side by side, so they mirror each other, and we see that anthropologists understand this very well. Hunter-gatherers tend to have different ideas around, or tend to have similar ideas to other hunter-gatherers around things like God and sex and all the rest of it, and agriculturalists tend to then exhibit different properties, and industrialists tend to exhibit different properties. So culture is always reflected in how we interact with nature. One of the things that he really realized as he started to do this is that it's easier to do it the right way than the wrong way, and there's a huge amount of benefit in doing it the right way. And that's because of something called emergence, or magical collective intelligence of nature. So what he came up with really was a set of principles, firstly, that give us really a framework for making ecological decisions. And then secondly, a design methodology, which similarly allows us to ask the right questions in the right order so that we can design for emergence. And this is what permaculture is really allowing us to do. It's allowing us to design in a way that respects, in a sense, the laws of nature, and therefore really unlock the magical creative power that nature has. Which, if you're a little bit worried about the future of the planet and you're watching this, you should be, but you should also remember that emergence can save us, and designing with nature and following this exact methodology that we're going to describe in the coming modules is going to help you a lot. We're going to go on, we're going to look at permaculture principles, we're going to look at all the other stuff in the design methodology. For now, I want to cover a few more things. Definitions. There's a lot of different definitions about permaculture used around. One that I like is that it's the conscious design and maintenance of agriculturally productive ecosystems, which mirror native ecosystems in terms of their stability, diversity, and resilience. That really, in a short way, just means design things to work like healthy ecosystems. So a big part of what we're going to cover in the opening stuff is ecology, because I really want people, everyone in the world hopefully, to become ecologically literate. So really taking your time to understand the way ecology works so that we can design healthy ecosystems is a big part of that. Okay, so permaculture means ecosystem design. We can apply it to everything. So what we want people, particularly in our program, to do is we want them to learn this permaculture decision making and design approach by typically designing a piece of land. But then what we want, and this is almost a guaranteed consequence, we want people's decision making and approach to problem solving and designs to be forever altered, and it will be. So long term, think about this as you're learning a set of approaches that will help you to design better businesses, a better life for yourself. So really take your time with this stuff and enjoy it. Finally, in addition to coming up with a set of principles and design methodologies, Mollison also came up with a set of ethics: people care, earth care, fair share. Okay, and ethics tends to be a thorny issue. My own belief about ethics is this: it's that if we do those right things and we come into right relationship with the earth and we take care of ourselves properly, my fundamental belief about ethics is that good behavior is an emergent property of healthy people, and healthy people are an emergent property of healthy, well-managed ecosystems. And I very much believe, and I think Mollison did as well, that ethics reveal themselves as we live life in right relationship to each other. So you could kind of debate that one all day, but I'll leave it there for that. So next, in the next class, we're actually going to get into integral theory, which is a little bit of a divergence from this, but this next class is something we're going to refer back to an awful lot, in addition to all the permaculture principles and design methodologies. See you there.